everyone, this is Bonus, and today this video is all about gluten. Well, exclusively for gluten. What is glutenin and what is gliadin, right? And how it really works. So let's figure out those questions that what I am going to cover in this particular video. Here we go. If you missed the series 1, so I will add that link in the description. So watch till end to understand better that what exactly gluten and how it plays the role.
Gluten means protein. Gliadin and Glutenin combines to form the protein. This is very simple. Let me show you the diagram here, what I have made. You can see here, this is the glutenin, this is the gliadin, right? When these two combine here, but we require water to combine them, right? So once the water comes between this, means you can see here mixing with the water, they start the formation, means the dough formation, right? So until unless we adding water, the gluten and gliadin never mix together perfectly and give a dough to us. Here I have some few points about the glutenin and gliadin. The glutenin is resilient, is rubbery, and resistance to extension, chain entanglement. Clear? And when it comes to gliadin, is a glumpy, very cursive, which is oriented and gluey, and little resistance to extension. Right? You can see here the gliadin, which is a hydrophobic interaction and hydrogen bond on the dough formation. Clear? And when this to combine with the help of water, this is right, and when the mixing the water, this is what the gluten formation, right? So how the gluten will be? Very easy, right? This two means gluten means has a property between the gliadin and gluten. Clear, right? Let's go to the next page. This is the important part. Let's figure it out. Flour provides the structure. Let's see. The flour contains the protein that has interact with each other, right? But when the water is mixed and forming gluten, it is the elastic gluten framework. This is very important, okay? Elastic, remember this. Elastic gluten framework which stretches to contain the expansion living gases during rising. Means what happened, the elasticity was forming due to gluten when mixing water. This one is clear, right? But what happened when we adding yeast to our dough, right? So what exactly yeast does? It produces CO2 gases, right? Carbon dioxide. What happened? It expanding that elasticity of the gluten, right? Expanding the living gases during rising. So due to elasticity, the air pushing it, right? Like the glutenin and gliadin, right? It's combined together. But when the yeast is inside, it starts stretching the whole gluten like this. Can you understand that? So the holes you can see here, that's the crumbs that what we generally get from the bread, right? So the gas is pushing the elasticity of the gluten and giving a volume to the bread. Understanding this? Gas during the rising, right? The protein content of a flour affects the strength of a dough. So how much gluten you have in your dough, that matters, right? How strong flour you're using, according to that, the formation, the volume and the crumb, that what you're gonna get, right? It helps dough rise by trapping gas bubbles during fermentation and give bread its unique texture. Here you can see what exactly I just explained right now, like about the bonding of a gluten and gliadin, right? And when we're giving a resting the dough, so what happened? The yeast start carbon dioxide, right? Releasing CO2. So the CO2 push the hole, and where we can see the elasticity of the gluten. You can see here. So this thing's making the hole because of the trapped air of gases of CO2, because the trapped CO2 pressurely pushing all side. So what happened, this elasticity, you can see here, this is elasticity, right? And there where CO2 try to release, means try to escape against the volume of the bread. Clear? This is what the gluten, right? It helps dough rise by trapping gas bubbles. Clear with this? It rises because of trapped gas bubbles and pressurely it try to release, and there the bread gets the volume. Fermentation and gives the bread its unique texture. I hope you guys clear with this, right? See the next. Gluten water capacity in dough. Gluten hydration. This is very important, right? Gluten hydration. A proper hydration required to form a gluten, or you can say elasticity or you can say the strength of the dough, right? Gluten hydration is an essential step in baking because it allows the dough to be more extensible, strengthable, and elasticity, right? No water, no gluten, then no protein. A proper water required to perform these three things. Clear with this? Next question, how does gluten develop in dough? Here we go. The more the dough is mixed, the more gluten is developed, but a moderate amount of water is ideal. Amount of water is essential when it comes to formation of a good dough, right? And for the gluten development, as much you need, the gliadin and glutenin will mix together in a better way, and as much you do exercise on them, means kneading, so that will help to develop the strength, the extensible and the elasticity. Clear with this? But understand one thing, that you shouldn't do over kneading. If you do over kneading, means it will dry and it will start tightening the dough. Right? Clear with this? Let's go to the next topic. Importance of protein. Protein content can impact many functions, properties of the flour and dough batter, like water absorptions, conciseness, the quality of forming of united whole, viscosity, dough strength, texture, loaf volume, crumb grain. Clear? So these are the importance of proteins. Means when the gliadin and glutenin mix together, that what forms the gluten, and there the protein comes. And the protein helps all things. And a proper kneading and a moisture matters a lot, right? So this is the importance of protein. Clear with this? How gluten is developed. So how we can figure out the gluten is completely developed? Do we really need to knead more? First of all, the dough should hold its shape. The first point, lift the ball dough in your hand, it in the air for a second, right? So we're gonna hang it. So we're generally just gonna hang our dough, like this is the dough, so I'm just gonna be hanging it in the air, right? So after that, what happens? It holds the ball shape. That means the gluten is tight and strong. If not, then more kneading required. Then second is check window pin test. Let's see the video.
अब चेक करते हैं विंडो पे. तो ये हो गया एक परफेक्ट सा विंडो पिन, राइट? Perfect window pin ready.
I hope you're clear with this video. That is the window pin test, right? Stretch the dough without breaking the membrane, right? Stretch the dough without breaking the thin membrane, right? Means the gluten is well developed and no more kneading. So this helps to understand that do we really need more kneading. If you got the window pin, then you are just perfect. So this was the window pin. I hope you guys clear with this window pin. Let's go to the next page. So the next here, the salt affects gluten. Let's go. Salt toughens the gluten. I hope you guys noticed that whenever I knead it, means a cooking video, in my bread making videos, at the last I used to add salt, right? Why? Just because of this. Salt toughens the gluten. That's the reason I always do salt delay method. You just watch my some of few bread making videos, you can easily understand why I add salt later. Means after the kneading process done. Means after the window pin test. I hope you guys clear with this. It has a conditioning effect on the dough. Weaker flour could actually be strengthened by adding salt. Wow, this is a tip. If you deals with a weaker flour, you can add salt, right? It just helps with strengthening. Salt improves the handling properties of the dough by reducing the thickness. Even though it's strengthening the gluten, it delays its formation during mixing. Right? These two. Because of these 2 points, I generally add my salt at the last. Right? Salt delay method. Now you guys clear with this? Why salt after kneading? Let's see some points. Tightening the gluten strength to your dough. Hold on the carbon dioxide gas, supporting good volume. Slow down fermentation and enzymes activities in dough. Clear? So these are the points that why we add salt and what exactly salt does. Clear with this, guys? Let's see the next point. 2 ingredients prevent gluten. So what are the 2 ingredients that prevent gluten? Such as butter and oil, means fats. Yeah? Slow down the gluten forming process by coating the protein strands. Coating act like a barrier that prevent gluten protein from sticking to one another, stunting the growth of long chain. I hope you understand this. Let me show you a demo. So here I have the oil in both the hands, right? So what happened? So this is glutenin and this is gliadin, right? So when I'll try to mix them, so it will slip. It will slip, right? It can't just hold together. Without oil, the gluten strength is different, and when we add oil, so it will slip. The glutenin and gliadin can't just hold each other for longer time, right? So here the gluten will be weak, right? For that reason, the 2 ingredient which prevent gluten is the butter and oil, means fat. Clear with this? Same as the butter, if I'll add butter in my fingers and I'll try to hold each other, again it will slip, right? So this is, I hope you guys clear with this point. Let's turn the page. So next question here is how gluten hold the gas. Gluten makes the dough elastic enough that the bubble wall can expand like a little balloon without tearing up. Until the point where the bread overproofed. See, if you overproofed, everything has a limit, right? If you overproof the dough, so definitely the skin will be very, very thin, right? What happened? Here I'm giving the rest to my dough, right? And the yeast start producing CO2, so it will give the volume. So this is what called proofing, right? So till this, if I stop, then good. If I still continue resting my dough for more longer time, what happened? If CO2 is more and we don't stop them for overproofing, if we don't stop overproofing, it will start tearing up because of the pressure of CO2 gas. Clear? So everything has a limit. So gluten also has a limit that to hold your dough for a longer time. If you overproof it, so then definitely at one time it will tear up. Clear with this? When the carbon dioxide exerts from pressure, then a proofed dough can withstand. The gluten stretch, then it weaker, releasing the gas and deflate the overproofed dough. I told you deflate. So what happened? If the gas will go out, so what happened? Everything will be like deflate. Clear? Let me show you example here that I have the rubber band. I wish I could have a balloon so I could show you. This rubber has a limit to stretch. Only this much can stretch, right? If I do more, what will happen? It will break. Think, this is the glutenin and this is the gliadin, right? And we knead it properly, so they are now one, right? So now we can stretch it. So now the CO2 get inside, right? And start stretching the dough, which means giving the volume to the bread, right? So here we're giving the volume. The fingers are the CO2, right? The gas. It start getting inside now. What happened? It has a limit to extend, right? So this is the better. If I stop here, the proofing is good. But if I don't stop this one, so what happened? The CO2 gas will start expanding, and one time what happened? It break off. So what happened? It's just gonna be deflate. Means you can see now no strength. This is generally happen. Everything has a limit. If you stop them, it's good. Otherwise, it will just tear up, right? And the circle will be getting it like this, and it will be like just like this, like deflate, right? I hope you guys clear with this. So this is very important to understand. We shouldn't do overproofed our dough, right? Because it will deflate. Clear with this topic? I hope this helps you to understand. If I could have a balloon, so it will be more easy to understand. Well, here you can see here, this is the yeast, fermentation, baking soda, baking powder. These are all things actually living gases. Next question we have here: does fermentation reduce gluten? Importance of proper fermentation of grains to aid in digestion. First of all, if the fermentation process happening, means it helps to digest. A better fermentation will help to digest. Long fermentation process allow bacteria to fully break down the carbohydrates and gluten. So here you can see the fermentation reduce gluten. Yes, exactly it does. Fully break down the carbohydrate and gluten in bread. Clear? Making it easier to digest and releasing the nutrients with it and allowing our body to more easily absorb them. See, you guys heard about the sourdough. I'll make a sourdough series. I'll explaining this one in a better way. Clear? So in this topic, just understand that fermentation break down the carbohydrate and gluten, right? Because it helps to digest properly and our body can absorb them easily, right? And get more nutrients. Clear? So here the topic ends about the gluten. If you have any question, just comment below. So I will try to figure out the questions and I'll answer you back. So till then, gluten. So I'll see you in the third series, right? Bye bye.